It followed me out of the woods. I keep it trapped in my crawl space. It looked like Bill. It talked like Bill. It's not Bill. This sinking feeling of being watched came over me on a routine hike, but I ignored it. It happens sometimes. It's best to keep a steady pace. When the feeling of being watched curdled into the feeling of being followed, I calmly turned back. A feeling is just a feeling until it cries out loud. Hey! A wail emanated from the surrounding trees. My heart jumped, but I ignored the urge to sprint. When I cleared the tree line, the wail turned into a painful moan. I turned around. Beyond the ash branches, I could just make out a figure shambling down the trail. Are you okay? I yelled out. Yeah. It patted its chest. Bill? It limped into the clearing and fell on all fours. It let out another painful moan as its body contorted into a disjointed crawl. I squared off reflexively and shuffled backwards. When it broke into a gallop, I bolted for my truck. The sound of hooves closed in behind me. I felt its breath on my neck just before it knocked me off my feet. I groped at the ground as its fingers closed around my throat. My fingers closed around a rock and I swung for my life. The full weight of its body slumped down on me. I heaved it to the side. By all marks, Bill looked human. It wore a flannel shirt and jeans. It brandished a full beard. Worse yet, it was a Bill I recognized. Its eyes snapped open and it lunged again. But I brought the rock down harder this time. I heard his skull crack like wet celery. It looked like Bill. It talked like Bill. It bled like Bill. I grabbed some rope from the bed of the pickup. It didn't like being hogtied. It bit and scratched the whole time. It all happened so fast I don't even remember how I got it in the trunk. When I drug it into the house, I knew it wasn't a good idea, but nothing seemed like a good idea. I stuffed it down the crawlspace hatch and tied it to a floor post until I could figure out what to do with it. That was over a year ago. It wailed and moaned for days. Then the screams turned to sobs and finally silence. After about a week, it started talking. Its voice sounded grainy, like an old tube television tuned to static, or an answering machine. Right before it started talking, you could hear an audible click, and another click when it finished. Click. Friends looking for Bill. Click. Bill vanished in the summer of 2017. The TV spots still run, but everyone's given up. Click. Janice still waits for Bill. Click. Its tactics, its patterns of speech improved with every new attempt. Click. Please, we're so stiff. Just one limb. Click. Its voice came across as an elderly man, off-putting but hideously persuasive. I climbed down through the trap and actually started loosening the rope around its feet. If I hadn't noticed the drool running down its chin, it would have had me for sure. It looked like Bill. It sounded like Bill. It's not Bill. My brain feels hijacked. I wish I could have ignored it, but its voice drew me in. I sealed the crawlspace hatch just to keep myself in check. Click. I want you. Click. I'd grown accustomed to its clicking. Click. I need you. Click. It's been weeks since the last I heard it. Click. I love you. Click. Last night, I bolted upright from a dead sleep. A click, followed by another click a moment later. Then a click came every few seconds. They sounded muffled. I traced it to a corner of the living room. I grabbed a torch and a broom and unfastened the hatch. The clicks came faster and faster. I climbed down and pointed the torch at the post where I kept Bill tied. The rope sagged around his empty clothes and shoes. I shined the flashlight towards the source of the clicking. In the corner was a man-sized web sack. The webbing covered almost its whole body. It covered everything except for its shoes. Click, 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 click. My shoes. The shoes I wore when I came down the steps earlier. It was wearing a pair of my identical shoes. 4 more clicks rang out. As it started to sink in, the clicking stopped. Click. The web sack stirred. Something undulated from within the cocoon. I stood frozen in place. I heard a tearing sound as a hand burst through the shell. It was wearing my nail polish. I scrambled through the hatch in a dead heat and dropped the door hard behind me. It pounded and begged as I secured the screws. I sighed with bittersweet relief as the screaming turned to sobs. Please, you don't have to do this. Please don't do to me what you did to Bill. It's soul-wrenching. No one should hear the sound of their own voice begging for mercy.